Welcome to CPG Vibes. No scripts,
just chat.
I'm Alex Baer.
And I'm Wade Yenny.
Each episode is recorded live, and we talk all things food and beverage, and so much more.
Feel our vibe and search for CPG Vibes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and make sure to give us a 5-star review.
If you'd like to sponsor our show with your product or service, email us at cpgvibes100@gmail.com.
Now, let's vibe.
All right, welcome to episode 162 of CPG Vibes. It's just us two. You know, it's the first episode in many, many episodes where we don't have we're going to have a special guest, our sponsor, but not having an actual special edition show. And so it's going to be a lot of talk, a lot of no script, just chat, a lot of making stuff up as we go along. Just kidding. Wade, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm thinking it's Good Friday.
Good Friday.
Yeah, it is a Good Friday indeed. It might just be us today, but that's okay. I'm sure after the fact, a lot of people listen to it, watch it on YouTube and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, you know, we got some people on already, and it's growing by the second here. I'm looking at the counter here, and some people, you know, it's also a new time. When I say a new time, this week is an adjusted time. So 10 a.m. instead of noon Pacific Standard Time. So a little bit of adjustment there, but that's why we have it recorded. That's why it's on Apple Podcasts. That's why it's on Spotify or your listening platform of choice. With all that said, we're going to go into some laundry list items here, okay? The first thing is our sponsor for this episode is Kif & Co. And the CEO and founder is Caroline Brain. And she has a phenomenal product here. So, and it's on the can. It says fizzy probiotic drink. It's basically kind of a new wave soda, probiotic soda, probiotic, and very. It's a great product, number one, and it's very effective. Like you feel it when you drink it. And I think there's other brands out there, you know, where there's probiotic, and you kind of feel it. Maybe this one, you really feel it. It's very effective and functional. So Kif & Co. And they also have a We Funder campaign that is up and running. And they are our clients at Genius Dreams, and proud to say that we were honored to work with them. And their campaign is already at $55,750. And it just literally launched. Like, you know, it's not even fully publicly launched. They did a private launch just to some of their internal investors, and they've already raised over $50,000. So the website, I'll put it, or the link to the campaign, I'll put it in the chat. You can go there and invest. And today we're talking about a couple topics, by the way, just to front load it. Industry trends that are shaping CPG in 2025, which we have prepared nothing for this. And I'm being partially honest about that, not fully honest. And then we're going to talk about tariff updates as well. It's no script, just chat, Wade. So they got to expect we're winging it in some ways. So we are the number one rated CPG podcast in the world. Make sure to keep us that way. Go to Apple Podcast or Spotify and give us 5 stars. We also have the CPG Vibes Newswire. Been running behind on that, but we're going to start posting on that again starting next week. You can get the latest news in CPG. No chit chat, just facts. Already mentioned this week's sponsor, which is Kif & Co. and their We Funder campaign. We have our backwall sponsors, I should say, which is Melting Forest, Feel Free, and Dream Makers with Jeff Church. And that's an accelerator. Make sure to reach out to Jeff Church if you'd like to be part of his accelerator. He helped build Suja to over $100 million in revenue, and they eventually sold to a private equity. Jeff Church was one of the original co-founders and the CEO of Suja for many, many years, including from the beginning. So make sure to join his network there. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/@CPG Vibes. Besides that, really nothing else going on in the world, right, Wade?
No, zero. Well, actually, Alex, this weekend only comes once a year, and most people celebrate Easter, and I do too. but it's WrestleMania weekend. So FYI, it is WrestleMania weekend. So I'm pumped up. Before the show started, I was watching a little bit of the Pat McAfee show live from Las Vegas, and he's got a lot of personalities on there, and just that's where it is this year. It's in WrestleMania. It's now pretty much a 4, if not 5-day event all week long, and yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Cool.
WrestleMania, the main event of WrestleMania is Easter Sunday.
That's an opportune time to have it. A lot of people are home. They're tuning in. And I'm sure you got your black box ready, right, to watch it.
Oh, I subscribe to it. It's on
It's on
Peacock.
Netflix, right?
Peacock.
Or Peacock.
Well,
Yeah.
the weekly shows
Netflix
on
is
Netflix.
Raw, right?
Yes, yeah. Peacock is the yeah. So pumped up. I see Robert's here. Happy grandfather.
Yeah. So just a big congratulations to Robert Kogan, a premier sponsor for many episodes, and it just coming off hot from the All Canada show last Friday. And Robert Kogan, he just had his first grandchild. So congratulations to you, my friend, and a big time friend and sponsor of the show. So good stuff. And then, yeah, I mean, I celebrated Passover, so that we went out just for a dinner. We didn't do a formal Seder, but went out to a dinner at a Jewish deli in Los Angeles. Plenty of those around in LA with my mom, and just celebrated as a family. And that was last Saturday. So,
And what do you order? What's your order at the deli?
well, remember, I'm a little more restrictive on what I can eat.
Right,
But,
that's what I'm curious. Yeah.
but the one thing that's a go-to in the kind of a Jewish delicacy is matzo ball soup.
Okay.
So it's just literally just a big ball.
Yeah,
in a soup.
I know exactly what it is. I'm curious with regards to that. Does that no season, like typically when I think of soup, I think of cold weather or
Yeah.
gray. Yeah, but is it seasonal relative to Passover? Is it knows no boundaries with weather or?
Yeah, it's it could be any time of the year. You can
Okay.
enjoy it.
Okay.
But obviously, when you go to the grocery stores around Passover, Easter, you see like the end caps have the matzah, the
Yep.
matzah, the matzo ball soup,
Crackers.
the crackers, the matzo ball soup, kit, which has like, the seasonings in there and everything you need to make the matzo balls. And it's in chicken broth typically with some noodles. And so I did have the chicken broth, which, I'm not a hardcore vegetarian. And so I enjoyed that. And it was delicious because it was an authentic Jewish deli. When you make it at home, it's, when I do, it's a total disaster, and it's not a ball. It's just clumps.
So have you had Sarah Nathan's product, Newish? Have you had that?
Newish, is this a new Jewish product, or what is
No,
this?
it's a instant matzo ball soup. You
never heard of it.
okay? No. Well, I'll put up. I mean, there's let me. I'll find a link for you. Hold on, I'll find it.
Cool. All right.
Sarah used to be on the buying side of CPG.
Okay.
And she started this company. I don't know if it's been 2 years now. But let me put it in the chat for you. You haven't heard, I'm surprised you haven't heard of this because it's
maybe when I see the packaging, I'll recognize it.
Okay,
Newish.
there it is. Well,
Jewish, you got in the chat.
There it is.
Newish food. Jewish food includes. That's the Gemini. That's not the right thing. Burping a little bit because of the probiotics. All right, let's see. Yeah, I need to. Do you put the link in? Let me see. There it is. New. Oh, it's spelled differently. I was thinking
Newish. N-O-O.
Yeah. So NOOISH.co. I was thinking like Jewish with an N. So Newish. Okay, I'll check it out. It out.
Definitely check it out.
There it is. Matzo ball soup instant. Very cool. That's a great invention right there because it does take a while to make.
Yeah, and I know she has some distribution in the LA area. I think smaller stores, obviously a little bit more selective. She's doing primarily online, but
cool.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, there's a Jewish run chain also that's now nationwide, but it started, I believe it started in LA in the Valley, called Menchie's, because I see be a mensch and get rewarded. And so Menchie's is a frozen yogurt brand, and mensch means like be a good person, right? Or a friend in the slang, basically Yiddish, in the Jewish customs. And so Menchie's, for those that are especially in LA, you've seen Menchie's around in the Valley in LA. So we have a couple different topics we're going to be talking about here. The first one is industry trends shaping CPG in 2025. And then we also do have some updates with tariffs, right? Not a ton of updates. It's kind of continuing on what's been happening, but there was obviously about a week and a half ago the major announcement of pausing some of the tariffs for 90 days. Still something going on, a tariff war with China. There's other countries that the U.S. and Trump are working with to strike a deal to lower the tariffs on both sides. So it looks like they're in Toronto too. So we're going to talk about the tariffs as a secondary topic if we can get to that. And then at the 35-40 mark, we'll be bringing on Caroline with Kiff and Co. And reminder, they have a WeFunder campaign. So Wade, I guess I have the link here. There's some good resources behind just trends in CPG, but I'm going to hand it off to you. So like, with what's going on so far in 2025, we're far enough into the year to start seeing things, and with tariffs aside, which have kind of turned a lot of things upside down, right, from a supply chain standpoint. What are some of these major trends that you're seeing starting to form, starting to get popular, CPG brands are using, and what could be a good resource for CPG brands?
Yeah, I think protein is still hot. Protein everything. Protein snacks, protein. Yeah, exactly. Anything protein is hot right now. Whether it's powder, whether it's added to drinks, to snacks, to you name it, protein is hot. Regenerative organic is still very, very hot. I don't know, prebiotic, probiotic. I feel like we're starting to
it's at that peak. It's at that
maybe
kind of
starting to come down a little bit.
more competitive for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean that's just it. It's competitive, and I saw some good dialogue, and I don't have the link to put up here now, but with regards to someone had taken a picture of a set. I want to say at Target in this section with drinks, and just showing how wiped out it was, and or things were misplaced, and the commentary back and forth. And one of the people that I used to work with that ran that category when I was in Louisiana, his feedback was that, hey, this space is owned by Pepsi and Coke, and so whether they're using, as far as their his dialogue and just the conversation in general was just that they've got merchandisers in the store 5-6 days a week, right? And so they're going to look sharp, and they're going to, and not necessarily the prebiotic probiotic category, but the shelf space for shelf stable beverage. And they're in there, they're touching it, they're massaging it, they're fixing it. So some of the dialogue back and forth was, if you're using them as your distribution partner, more than likely they're prioritizing blue and red, because that's who they are, that's what they do. And there was some conversation flipping over to the alcoholic side with regards to them taking on some of those DSD channels, taking on these brands, these lesser known brands, and trying, because everybody wants to fill their trucks, they want more volume, they want, all these things. And again, they have merchandisers in the store. So long story short, it's just that it was just interesting, because how do you and it'll be interesting as we bring Caroline on, is as far as the beverage category is so hard in general, but then the merchandising component, and I'd be interesting to hear what you have to say with this, the merchandising component, because you can have the best product in the world, but the merchandising component that some of these people offer on the DSD side, specifically the big brands and even the AB sides, because they're also offering those services. How do you, being distributed by especially natural, we can name the names so everybody knows who they are. How do you combat that service as a beverage brand? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and Caroline will have a lot to say on this as well, because she's a local brand in Los Angeles, right? Is own your backyard. So if you go nationwide and you go into 3,000 stores, 5,000 stores, it's very difficult to maintain control and make sure that the product is on the shelf, make sure the price tags are up, make sure the promo tags are up. I remember actually when we launched in I'll just say their name, Target, right? Target has come a long way, and they're better. But back in 2020, 2021, they had some major merchandising challenges. it was like that. The marketplace was just starting to grow, and they were putting all these new items in and expanding it. And when there's expansion really quickly, things get a little bit out of control. And I felt like their merchandising it's better now, but not perfect. Nothing's perfect, but it was definitely out of control back then. And I remember going to a Target in New York when I was out there for Costco. And I went to, and I'm like, oh, we're in this region for Genius Juice. Let me check out this store. And I think it was somewhere in Harlem. It was like a Harlem Target. And so I went in there and I saw our tags, but I didn't see the product.
Zero.
It wasn't there. And in Koya and Rebel, and like everyone was moved in to where the tags were. I'm like looking around, and I talked to a manager, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, I thought I remember seeing it come in, but I don't know where it went. And he took me downstairs to the back fridge. We opened the door, and there was a U-boat with like 1,000 items on it. Right? Sound familiar?
Mhm.
And on the very bottom, that came in 3 weeks ago, was the initial shipment of Genius
Right.
Juice. Like
Right.
it had 2 cases of each, and it was crushed by like all the stuff above it.
Right.
And we took it out, and some of the bottles were crushed and all this stuff, but we took it out and we put it on the shelf. So that's an example that when you are not physically going into the stores, checking these stores, having someone forge a relationship, it's going to get out of control. So being more local, being the one, you can actually go into the store, check it, and grow the velocity in your regional stores versus trying to go national until you have the resources to do so. So that's my explanation of it.
And I would say the other thing you can do is be very strategic. If you do get a national launch, which great, wonderful, go ahead. Get a store list, get an ABC store list, right? And know where the A stores are. And from a merchandising support, if you're going to invest in that, do so in the A store areas, whether they're highly populated or what, and it was the same advice my friend gave, is like, own, if it's a regional launch, it's self-explanatory. You own where you're at, and just, you park yourself there and get around and do the grind and do all those things. But if you're going a little bit wider spread, multiple DCs, wider region, multi-state, pick those best stores and put merchandising support, whether it's you or a third party, into those areas so that you're driving velocity in that way, right? And making sure that that's something you're doing and supporting that way. And it goes hand in hand with promotional support, in that we always suggest V-Driven plug, vdriven.com. We always don't have a promotion on the shelf the first month, because if you don't have the merchandising support to make sure the product's on the shelf, you're wasting your promotion. Because odds are, I always said this, even in my days, in my past life, I'm not naming names, I'm trying to be good here, Alex. But
Good Friday.
I would often, I'm celebrating a year in, being out of that life. But I would go out, let's say the reset was supposed to happen April 1. It would be very common for me on April 18 to go out and not see execution. And it's there's no excuses. There's no, pointing fingers. It's simply that it's not necessarily a priority when you have so many hours in a day at store level and you're doing things on shelf. It's very common that it doesn't happen the day after, or even the week after. So if you put a promotion on day 1 to support your launch in a national retailer, the odds of execution are very, very light, in that the reset hasn't happened. The products, the example you gave of the product being in the back, it's very common. So wait till month 2 or even month 3 to have a promotion on store level. Because I'm a big proponent of establishing your everyday price point first before you have a promotion anyways. But beyond that, execution for a reset, new products coming on the shelf, isn't going to happen that first week. It's just not. I mean, it may, a couple stores here, but I would say you're lucky if you're going to get 30% execution that first week.
Yeah.
And so, and as you go into week, so if you have a 4-week promotion, you've already lost 25% of the promotion, and it just amplifies as you go through.
Yeah. Such great advice. Amen to that, and couldn't put any better myself. Launching and we'll move on to this other topic of more of the industry trends because I have some listed here we'll go over. But launching in a retailer that has, 50 stores, 100 stores, 200, 500, 1,000, it's just difficult when it starts going outside of your region when you're a brand that is strapped for resources and capital and personnel. It's just really hard. There are select retailers that are really fucking good at merchandising. I've mentioned them on the show, right? Sprouts is pretty good. Sprouts is pretty good. They're not the best, but they're solid. And typically, when you have a product that's launching in 400, how many do they have now? Over 400,
Over
easily.
400. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're in the mids 400s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing more pop up in my backyard here, like in Long Beach and Whittier, and like in areas you wouldn't expect it to be, but they're flourishing and people are in there buying product at a good price. So they're putting it on the shelf. Their innovation set definitely going on the shelf like that. You're not missing a single store on the innovation set, but not spotty. Publix, same thing. Whole Foods, usually pretty damn good. But it's just hard when you launch in a big retailer where they have so many brands that have been in there for so long and the managers are merchandising those because they're turning. And I think I keep on bringing up the example of 451. Holy shit. They were like at 390 like a year and a half ago or something.
They
or
keep
2
going.
years ago.
Yep.
Holy crap. They're going to pass Whole Foods. But you look at brands like Midday Squares, which we bring up a lot on the show, and he's going to be on our show on June 6th for the Master Series, I believe. And they had the social media following to pump it at retail level. But how many brands have that epic social media following to get people to follow you, go to the stores, create demand? And when there's demand, I mean, the best type of product is the one that is already sold before it's even on the shelf. It's already sold. People are already demanding it. They're running into the stores trying to find it because they found out about it on social media. And so when there's a manager, right, like think about it from a human nature standpoint. If you're managing a shelf, which you've done, right, whether it's at Jimbo's, shorthanded, or in your past life, which items are going to pay attention to the most? The ones that sell the most, right? So you're going to go to the back and get those items and put them out. You're going to rotate them. And if there's an item that's kind of in the corner that's new, has a couple SKUs, but it hasn't been selling well yet, it's not like you're trying to ignore them on purpose, but you only have limited bandwidth when you have several hundred items in that set. Or let's say the juice set, you have 40 items, 50 items, 60 items. So that's just the nature of the beast. And, as Danny Stepper has said on our show, it's a blood sport. It's extremely difficult to launch nationally when your brand is not well known and not being pushed on social media. I wanted to pivot here, Wade, because I want to leave time, number one, for our other topic. But I'm looking at an article here, which is very interesting. And we'll be bringing on Caroline in about 5 or 10 minutes. So we can see her. You can't. And she's getting ready. She's like, yes, let's do this. She's getting pumped. So, and I'm drinking, by the way, her Kif & Co. Here, it's delicious.
Mine's already gone, Alex. You're drinking really slow.
I'm nursing it. Well,
no. She sent it to me a week or so ago, and I've already drank mine. So I have Dr. Perfy today. So
okay, cool. And I drank all of them. She sent me a 4-pack graciously, but I saved one for this show to be drinking on the air.
You have more willpower than I do. I drank it. Was good. I drank it. Hugh was talking in there. If you go back and look, I think I'm a big fan of mint. So that one, the cherry lime mint was
cherry lime mint. Favorite. That's this one.
Yep. That was good.
So some trends that are really shaping 2025, and this is a breakdown. It was provided by a mysterious person by text. I don't know who it was, Wade. Someone very much in the know that works with a company that starts with the letter V. So, but we look at, there's main topics that are being covered and really focused on in 2025. There's packaging, sustainability, especially sustainability, health and wellness, AI and data analytics, supply chain, which has become even more important with the tariffs and potential new tariffs coming in 90 days outside of China, and the 10% blanketed tariff that's already here, and also product development and innovation. And I feel like innovation, Wade, has taken the forefront, like in what's going on. Number one, to be relevant. I mean, even Kif and Co is coming out with a new line, right? That she may or may not announce on here, but we can talk a little bit about it, have a teaser on it. Product development, differentiating yourself, but also reformulating the product where the ingredients are sourced locally in the United States, right? So you don't have to bring them from other countries. And there have been repeated posts from founders and brands such as Hot Pot Queen, right? Jean Lau, where she's like, I get my peppers from China because that's what gives it that flavor and taste and aroma and experience. And yes, you can get a pepper from the United States, but it's not going to be the Szechuan pepper, right?
Right.
So these are all things that founders are being confronted with, which is like, holy shit, like I need to reformulate this potentially. I need to source locally. So I think innovation's becoming a very hot topic. But what do you think?
Yeah, well, innovation definitely, and you kind of bled a little bit into the tariff side too, and we have
Yep, on
some
purpose.
we have some partners that have a Canada presence and also a China presence, and had a meeting with them this week on this very topic, and we just push pause because it's just too volatile for them. We don't want to run the risk of a manufacturing run, bring the product
Mhm.
here, and then being priced uncompetitively. It's just too
Right.
risky. And while you want to keep pushing forward, this is an emerging brand. You want to keep pushing forward, but you have to err on the side of caution until some of this calms down. It's just not a wise move. You bring it in and you hit it. If you get hit with the tariffs and you're priced uncompetitively, you're going to sell obviously at a significant loss. And even if the tariffs go away, but you paid them coming in, you're still out that money. So it's just not a wise business move. So we push pause, and we're going to wait for this to calm down a little bit. But from the innovation perspective, I think the word is used so loosely, and obviously Sprouts does such a great job with their set. I think as people look at innovation or define innovation, what does it mean? Is it truly innovative? Are you truly is it packaging? Is it ingredients? Is it product? Is it attributes? What is innovation? And if someone asks you that question, what would you say?
Yeah, again, it's a very far-reaching word, but I think in the realm of CPG, innovation to me is so loosely used that it means just creating a new product. Like
Mm,
that's innovation, and
right.
creating a new product that differentiates and also puts you at an advantage from a supply chain side.
Well, without naming names, going back in past life, I'm going back to my conventional days.
Yep.
Uh, the big companies, and everybody knows who they are. We're talking multi-billion-dollar companies, and in the conventional world, making this clear, not natural. Every quarter, we want to show you our innovation, and many times it was the 10th or 15th SKU of a line that's already on the shelf, and
Right.
it's just,
Right.
okay, we already have a cheddar cheese, we already have a Mexican cheese, now we've got an Italian cheese, and it's just, and I'm talking about shelf stable, mind you, but again, you get the point. It's like, is that truly innovation? Maybe to them it is, but to the consumer, is that truly innovative? Just putting a new tag on the 50th SKU of a soup brand that's already out there.
Yeah.
Is that true innovation? And so I think as brands are looking at and coming excuse me, coming forward, thinking about what they're bringing to market, make sure you have an idea of what your differentiators are. If it's an attribute, if it's an ingredient, uh, packaging. Packaging can truly be innovative. You could bring something to a category that and I don't have an example. I do, but I don't want to use it. But you could bring something to a category with a packaging that is truly innovative in that you're redefining the way the consumer uses that product.
That's
Does that make
truly
sense?
that is, to jump in. I mean, that's the word that should be used when that is happening. Like when you're
Right.
creating, like, to me, remember the brand Cometeer Coffee? They're still on the
Oh yeah,
market,
absolutely,
but I feel
absolutely.
that that's a true innovation
I love that
because
brand. I
there's a
love that brand.
new way to enjoy coffee, right?
Right,
It's frozen, it's flash frozen to maintain the taste and the aroma and the
and
efficacy of the product,
right,
right?
exactly right.
And so like that's an innovation from a packaging standpoint, from a product standpoint, from a processing standpoint, and also from a marketing standpoint. But yeah, like if you have the 13th, I like the number 13, the 13th cheese that has a different type of chili pepper lodged
Where
into
it's
the
a
cheese. Is that
three
innovation? No,
cheeses
that
instead of four, or
well,
five instead of
yeah, like it's
yeah,
just all it is a hot honey, right? Is that
right,
really an innovation? To me, that's just product development and trying
right.
something new, but you're kind of merging things that have already been on the market for a long time. So
Right. But where I'm going with this whole conversation is simply that as you look as an emerging brand to get on the shelf, and if you want to push that you're innovative, you truly better be and or better have a clear vision of what differentiates you from what is already on the shelf. And again, it can be packaging, it can be attributes, it can be ingredients, it can be a number of things, but you as the founder, as the whoever is pushing this product, sales, what have you, you have to be able to tell the person you're pitching to why you deserve that shelf space and what you're bringing to that set that isn't already on the shelf. Does that make
mhm.
sense?
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Well said. One thing I'd like to mention, and then we're going to bring on our sponsor and guest, Caroline Brain with Kif and Co. in about 2 minutes. I want to reemphasize what Wade said, which I think Wade's a pro, right? I'm kind of a pro, but he's like legit pro in the CPG space from his past experience, and also now he's with V Driven, working with many brands and helping them scale, grow sustainably, supply chain, distribution strategy, all that. Is I like when you're saying pause when it
Hmm.
comes to tariffs. We don't know what the hell is going to happen. We have an idea and speculation of what's actually going to happen. But if you're a brand that is sourcing product all over the world, especially from China, don't rush. Like when you're not sure what to do, doesn't mean you have to be in action. It means you can take a step back and pause and see how things play out before making your next chess move. So if
Right.
someone puts a rook on this side of the table, you don't have to respond within 30 seconds. You can take a few minutes to figure out what you want to do with your piece to counteract that rook, right? That's
Right.
just my little chess analogy. So, in 90 days, there could be a deal that's struck between Trump and Xi Jinping, right? Like we don't know. And,
Hmm.
and I firmly believe, again, not to get political, that my prediction is that is what's going to happen. It's going to take a couple months. Like the other countries are already coming to the table and they're talking with Trump, and there are deals being struck. There's a 10% blanketed tariff, right? That is enforced now. But there's, countries such as Japan, India that are coming to the table, coming to the White House or meeting with Trump, and to hopefully lower tariffs on both sides, which I think could be really good for American companies that want to sell internationally, right? There's not going to be a 40 or 50% tariff. If you have a product that could do well, not to say you should go international right away, but maybe in the future, 5-10 years from now, you can sell to a country that might love your product. But when it comes to China, which is an economic superpower like the US, I do predict there's going to be a deal struck sometime in the summer, maybe in May, but I think more likely June. That's going to make it a lot easier on all these brands. So all the work you're doing now to try to maybe reshift your supply, shore it up to the U.S., or trying to like reformulate, just maybe plan for it, but don't take any action on it just
Right.
yet. Just wait for a couple months. And I think my prediction, things are going to work itself out.
Yeah, yeah, and I think whether you pause, whether you investigate alternative options, I think the old analogy, not putting all your eggs in one basket.
And that's a good
And
analogy with eggs right
right.
now.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it also translates to the tariffs piece as far as whether you're talking the U.S. market, the Canada market, whatever market you're talking about. You don't want to have so much of your business dedicated or dependent on one area that you
Yeah.
can't diversify and be sustainable outside of that one market. And I think it's good to go through the process, especially now, to see what alternatives are out there, whether it's manufacturing, co-mans, ingredients, things like that, or waiting to enter a market. So many different things, but and I think it's a bigger conversation with the whole pause statement as it relates to opportunities with, we've talked about some of these large retailers, retail launch. It goes back to the earlier conversation with regards to, just because you have the opportunity and just because you get the yes doesn't mean the moment's right for you. And if
Exactly.
you don't have
Yeah.
the structure, the finances, the supply chain, all those things in place and ready to support such a launch like that, it's probably best to wait or pause and say thank you for the opportunity, but not right now. And I think the other thing is just simply, looking at this tariff piece is, the old saying, buy low, sell high, and forward buying and things like that. You don't want to get caught on the bad end of this. If right now, if you're rushing to do something and your costs with tariffs or otherwise are up here, but to your point, whether it's 30, 90 days, they might be here, you'd be much better positioned to wait and ride this thing out. Because if you make a move and you're really aggressive now and you're here, but in 90 days you're here, you own or you produce the inventory up here. And so you're either going to take a loss because now the market's here, or you're going to try and sell it here and probably end up doing something drastic to alleviate that inventory and move forward. So a lot to think about.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right. So we're going to bring on our sponsor now and good friend, Caroline Brain. She is the founder and CEO of Kif & Co. and has a WeFunder campaign page running for those that are listening and not watching, it's wefunder.com/Kif and Co, KIFANDCO. Caroline, welcome to our show.
Awesome. Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Love the background. So very decorative. Very cool. And are you in
Yes.
your are you at home or are you at your office in LA?
Yeah, I'm at my office in LA, actually in our retail space that we just opened, nicknamed the Gut Hut, just because we're all about everything gut microbiome health related. So we have a little space here that we use as a retail space and as an office.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. And if someone wants to come by, is it like it's open to the public, right? The retail space, so they can come by.
As on the weekends, yeah. So
Okay.
we're in an area of LA called Frogtown, which is a really small little neighborhood on the east side along the LA River, which a lot of people don't even realize LA has a river, but it's a really special place. And we're right along the walking bike path. So on the weekends, there's tons of people around. We open up, we're selling TIFF and all sorts of grab and go healthy snacks.
Very cool. Yeah, it's a very like hipster area. So before I met you, I was in that area. I went to like a local shop there, and it was literally right in the area where your retail store is, and it's a cool area. And you're right, it's literally right on the other side of the LA River. And I guess also because frogs are there, right? That's why it's called Frogtown. Is that the original naming of it?
Yeah. That name stems from long ago. Yeah, so the LA River, lots of creatures kind of come along with that. There are
Right.
a lot of frogs. It's really cool, especially summertime at night. You like hear them start croaking, and the whole thing just has really come to life over the last 10, 15 years as the river has like taken root. It's this beautiful expression of rewilding, which is actually really representative of what we're doing at KIF in terms of trying to bring living foods back to a somewhat dead American food system. So in a sense, it's like really representative of what we're trying to do from a CPG perspective as well.
Got it. Let's dig into that. And again, we if you can also let's start with your WeFunder campaign, that we can go into the story about the brand and the product and the differentiation in the market. But tell us about the WeFunder campaign. We're also going to share the screen. Looks like you got some really good momentum thus far. So, but tell us about it and how people can get involved and invest.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And we were lucky enough to work with Alex at Genius Dreams
Thank
on
you.
our WeFunder strategy, which was super impactful. So yes, we just launched this. It's still in reservation mode, so it's kind of if you know situation, but we're going to be launching it to the public about mid-May. But there's some really exciting incentives going on right now for anyone that wants to get involved in the near term. You can see that on the page. But yes, this WeFunder campaign is actually our first formal fundraising campaign that we've ever done at KIF, which is something I'm very proud of. We bootstrapped the company for the last almost 4.5 years. It was a COVID passion project originally that actually stemmed from my own experience with a health struggle that I realized was all rooted in gut microbiome health issues, and came to learn that I wasn't unique in this struggle. Like so many people in the US are struggling. Actually, 2/3 of all Americans, it's reported, experience gut health issues on a weekly basis. So it's pretty much an epidemic, but it's not so sexy to talk about. So it's really interesting. After I started opening up about this and launching this product, almost everyone and their mother, I swear to God, comes to me and says, "Look, like I have this issue with gut microbiome health. Thank you so much for doing what I do." So it's quite rewarding. But I started KIF because I got interested in this realm of gut microbiome health and realized, frankly, we all need more probiotics in our diet. There's, probiotics, prebiotics, everything in this realm is really hot and sexy right now. It feels like everyone's talking about it. There's some really awesome brands doing really cool stuff. But we're really excited because we are one of the only companies actually brewing this ancient probiotic drink called kefir water or kefir soda. A lot of people know about kombucha. Kombucha is great, but kefir soda or kefir water is actually a much lighter version of kombucha. It drinks much lighter, it's lower in sugar, it's uncaffeinated, and it's actually more potent than probiotics. So, from a gut health perspective, it's even more effective than kombucha. And I discovered it on my own health journey and realized that people need this in their life, especially Americans. So started brewing it in my home, selling at farmers markets. And that was during COVID. And now 4 years later, we're about to launch our first official crowdfunding campaign, our first official round of investment. And we chose to do crowdfunding because we are really big on community. You guys talked a lot about like what you need to do to be successful as you grow as a brand, especially within the beverage space, is so competitive. So inviting people in to be part of this journey to help us grow this company together is really something we're trying to do. So crowdfunding on WeFunder is really emblematic of that.
With water kefir, which is really interesting because let's say in the past, the kefir that I would see is like the Lifeway, right? That's like the mainstream brand that has more of the creamy, kind of dairy type of kefir. So with water kefir, where do you see this category going in relation to kefir, but also in the gut healthy soda category?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because so many people, the connotation with kefir that they know is a milk-based version, milk kefir. That's an amazing product too, especially for gut health reasons. But there is something that's similar with the name water kefir or kefir water, or kefir soda, that's essentially the same probiotic benefits, but completely vegan and non-dairy. So it's water-based. And so then people are like, okay, is this like kombucha? It's a category that sits in between so many. But one thing that we're actually really excited to do that's on the very near horizon is we're actually repositioning the product because we found that consumers get so confused with what it is because of these connotations. We're repositioning and renaming the product as a gut healthy soda because that's really what it is at the end of the day. Kefir is kefir water, water kefir is a gut healthy soda. In fact, it's like the ancient version, the ancient natural version of the Ollipops and the Poppies. So it's a category that's obviously exploding, got healthy sodas, but we're really excited to introduce one of the only ones that is rooted in nature and efficacy. And then we take that all a step further and we only use only all natural ingredients. So we're really, riding, I think, the wave of gut healthy sodas, but we're doing it in a different way.
100%. And I will say, and then Wade might have a question, but I just want to read the ingredients here to top that off. And I've been enjoying this for the entire episode for those that are listening and not watching. But I have the cherry lime mint in my hand of Kif & Co. And it has raw kefir water. Its ingredients: raw kefir water, filtered water, raw kefir water, which is comprised of filtered water and kefir cultures. There is cane sugar, which is just for fermentation. So the sugar is at 0 in this product, just used for fermentation. So it's not a sugary drink at all. Cherry, lime, and mint. And you'll find, again, there's a lot of products out there that I've drank in the past, and I do like, right? Nothing against them, but the fact that you're not using natural flavors or concentrates, it's not super, super sweet. It has kind of a tinginess of just that flavoring, but it's not overpowering. And then the thing you didn't mention too, like I'm a long time kombucha drinker, and they're good, but they're very sugary. They can be vinegary and very polarizing. So I feel like you're kind of cutting through that with something that tastes good, not vinegary, low sugar, kind of gives you the best of all the different worlds. So what's been like the consumer feedback? What have you heard about the product so far? And you've been on the market for 4 or 5 years, but what kind of consumer feedback are you getting about the product?
Yeah, no, I'm glad, you gave your perspective on what the product means to you and how you enjoy it. Definitely, that's what we hear from our customers. Like, people are like, wow, the taste, it like blows them away. Especially if you compare it to a kombucha, they're like, this is way easier to drink. You can taste it's not as sugary. You can taste it like it has a powerful probiotic effect, like, immediately. And people say that, and they're like, this is really true, efficacious stuff. And then if people also come into it kind of expecting it maybe to be more like an Olipop or Poppy, because we are in cans after all, they're like, this doesn't taste artificial. This tastes really fresh, really light. Like, on a taste perspective, everyone's pretty over the moon about it, no matter about the preconception that they have before they try the product. So we're really proud of that. And that's been actually something we've worked on. We've iterated on our fermentation process, on our recipe for over 4 years. And something I like to tell people that is another huge point of pride is we actually still self-manufacture the product, which is very different than a lot of companies. So we actually brew it ourselves in Los Angeles. We have a microbrewery, so we're doing it the old-fashioned, the good old way, because we really care about, crafting a product that is not only really potent in probiotics, but super delicious as well.
So that's a good segue into what I was gonna ask you. So when you look at it from a fermentation, brewing, supply chain, I know it has to be refrigerated. Walk us through that process from starting to finish and what that looks like for you.
Yeah. So we brew everything, like I said, in-house. So we do a natural fermentation process. With kefir, it's a bit different than what most people might have experienced with kombucha. It's a bit of a shorter fermentation, but it yields a really rich probiotic base that we then brew in different juices and herbs. So again, only all natural ingredients to flavor it in all sorts of ways. So I know you guys have been talking a lot about the cherry lime mint, which is also one of my favorites. So we use real cherry juice, real mint, super, super delicious. And then it gets canned, and then it's a cold chain product. So, that definitely has its challenges, but it's been very interesting. In fact, since I started this, a lot of people have, I would say, mentored me or given me advice that's actually where you want to be in this space. You want to be cold chain, you want to be in the cold box, because that's, where the consumer sees the most value. And from a merchandising perspective, you guys spoke to this earlier. If you're not, it's really easy to be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of, I guess, a happy thing that we really just fell into, but that's definitely something that we're committed to going forward. But, logistically, growing nationally is tough with a cold chain product from an expense standpoint. So we are very intentional actually about only being regional right now. We're like, we want to do this the right way. We want to go slow. We're not trying to, bust onto the national scene immediately, for so many reasons beyond just, logistics and cold chain expense. But we want to stay close to the nest right now. And so that's how we distribute from a supply chain perspective.
Yeah, one other thing I'll mention too, which is really important. Two things. Number one, on the WeFunder, there's an early bird function on here. So when you invest, if you're the first $100,000 that go in from investors, you get a discount of I believe it is 10, somewhere around 10%. It's 10% on the valuation. So right now they're at 55,750, which I'm sure will be going quickly up from there. And once it hits 100, that early bird discount is gone. So make sure to be the first 100,000 in. There's 44,000 left in that. Second thing to mention is I've had long-standing gut issues for 30 years. I even remember when I was like 12 years old and like there would be a pain here. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it was from improper diet, too much sugar, processed stuff. So my gut is it's gotten a lot stronger, but when I drink something that is efficacious and really good for the gut, I know it is. Like there's a pretty big bullshit test with me. Like I can feel it right away because of my gut and how it picks up on things pretty easily. So I know when something works or it doesn't work and it's just witchcraft. And I can say, this is no bullshit. I'm not saying this because you're on our show. I'd say this either way, that you feel this. Like when you drink it, you feel the efficacy, you feel it helping your gut. If you have a stomach ache or something, it calms it down. It's not just a carbonated drink. It's a lot more than that. So just coming from someone who has had gut issues for many years and been a long time kombucha user, I'm your target market, right? I go to Whole Foods and I go to Lazy Acres, I go to Erewhon. This definitely works. So it's good stuff.
I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, that's definitely something we hear from our customers. This is, a beverage. It quenches your thirst. It's delicious, but it's medicine more than anything else. And it's medicine we really need in this day and age. There's so many forces working against our gut microbiome. And your gut microbiome they're calling it the second brain because of all the science and research that's coming out, detailing how foundational it is to everything in your health. So we all need to nurture that a bit more. So it's a very potent, very efficacious product that people, again, feel the difference. So I'm happy to hear you say that.
100%. I know we're running up on time, but I can definitely attest to that. When your gut is not feeling good, you cannot think worth shit. Like, you're just clouded and all you're thinking about is your gut not feeling good. And so there's the definite gut brain axis that is going on in our bodies. And the science proved it, like you just said. So we're at the top of the hour here, and the show is going to be ending in a couple minutes. So we're just going to roll with it and keep you on for the rest of the episode because we're enjoying this conversation and people are getting a lot of value out of it. And we're going to go into our prize, and that's something because there's no script, we never prepare for anything on the show. So typically the prize is going to be from our sponsor, like a 4-pack of Kif & Co. Or whatever you want to send. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You would love. Yeah.
And it's going to be continental U.S. So it's going to be the 48 states, right? Not including Alaska or Hawaii. So we're just going to come up with a trivia question, and you can win a 4-pack of this delicious Kif & Co. water kefir probiotic drink, 4 flavors. And Wade, do you have a question on deck at all? Actually, I got one.
I was going to say,
I do that. I do that
don't.
every week. I'm like, do you have a question? Because I got one. Okay, so what is the name of the area that where Kif & Co is in.
There you go.
Almost said it. Where are they located? Where is the Gut Hut?
Yay.
Let's see. I know there's a few less people on here today. They're going to catch it on the recording because of Good Friday and the earlier time. So it's going to be less competitive today. But someone got it. And he's a big fan of your product. Enormous fan. So Hugh Curtis, he got it twice. Frogtown and Frogtown. Okay.
All right.
Good job, Hugh.
Yeah, he's our champion half the time. He's really good at this stuff. So he pays
Love it.
attention. There's going to be some cans hopping over to you. See what I did there? And just email cpgvibes100@gmail.com. And we'll connect you with Caroline to get you your prize. And he said it 3 times. Okay, you got it, Hugh. You got it. You're good. You're good. You're good.
You won already, Hugh. Give it up.
It's awesome.
You can't win too much. All right. So with all that said, Caroline, thanks for being on our show. Again, if you would like to invest in Kif & Co., wefunder.com/Kif&Co, KIFANDCO. And again, if you're the next 44,000 investing, you'll get full advantage of that discount on the early bird bonus. So, Caroline, thank you so much. And everyone,
Thank you, guys.
thank you for tuning in. Wade, take good care, buddy. And we'll see you again next week. And next week is going to be a special edition show pending some confirmations, right? But it's going to be the Master Series, all about VC and PE, that's private equity investing. And we have Michael Bush confirmed with Growthways, and then we have another individual that we're confirming now. And we will see you all Friday at the usual time, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern. Thanks, everyone.